Hey guys, what's up? Dingocrikey here with another figure review. This time we're going to be looking at Transformers Titans Return Leader Class Blaster with Titan Master Twincast. Now, I usually like to give figure information during the beginning of the review. It's a little bit weird for this guy because he hasn't been technically released to retail. He is available through some online toy stores such as Big Bad Toy Store. So I guess the retail price for this guy is going to be about $44.99. And I guess you can say his release date is technically June 2016, though in most places it will probably be July. And in any case, he's part of the Leader Class Wave 1 figures. But with all of that aside, here we have Blaster in his box, and I'll give you guys a good look at it. There you can see Blaster, some box art. Got the side of the box, very similar to the Combiner Wars side. Also the back, pretty similar. We do have a little bit of a different display here, showing the different classes of figures. We have advertisements for Blur, Sentinel, Power Master, Optimus Prime, and then we have full box art on the side there. There we have the bottom of the box. You can see we have some more advertisements, and there's the top. So without further ado, let's open this up and get to looking at the figure. So right out of the box, here we have Blaster in his Boombox mode, and we also have Titan Master Twincast. Let's get him out of the way first. There you can see the figure, all its little details. Basically looks like a mini version of Blaster. I do believe that was the intention for this guy. As you can see, the chest looks like Blaster's, the legs with those details kind of does, and obviously the color scheme. There he is from the side, the back with that enormous face, which is pretty funny. The other side, the bottom, and then the top. As far as articulation, the legs can go forward at the upper legs at about a 90-degree angle. They can go backwards at the knees at a 90-degree angle, and then forward at a 90-degree angle as well. The arms can go up just about that much. Any further and they'll start popping off these ball joints here. And the head has a little bit of up and down movement, but it also does go all of the way around. Color scheme on this guy is pretty obvious. Red, black, a little bit of blue on the eyes there, but really not a whole lot to say about him. To transform him, just bring the upper legs up like that, bend forward at the knees, and there you have part of Blaster's head. We'll be looking at this guy and the head more in robot mode. For right now, let's just look at the main figure, and that is of course Blaster, who is in his Boombox mode. And we'll bring him in for a closer look. There you can see him from the front, the side, the back, the other side, the bottom, and there he is from the top. As far as colors go on this guy, pretty simple. We have red, obviously a lot of it all throughout. Have some yellow, black, this light gray color, which is actually surprisingly a sparkly plastic, which is kind of cool in my opinion. We have this translucent plastic up in the front here, some non-sparkly gray, and then we have some silver on the Autobot symbol. If you look down here, we do have a few more colors, or I guess I should just say one more with this aqua blue. And that's about it for colors. As far as the overall design, as you can see, he's pretty evidently a boombox. He does have these big speakers here, which are molded on the surface in this really cool mesh plastic. You don't get the full effect unless you have the figure in person, but it is really nice molding they did there. He obviously has the tape, or I guess in this case it's like a cartridge deck as well. Tape deck design, obviously very similar to what Blaster traditionally has. Not a whole lot to talk about there. And then we do have this handle up at the top, which not only aesthetically looks cool, but even as an adult I can get 3 fingers in there to carry him pretty nicely. So, and as far as kibble and or bad bits go, we don't have too many signs of this actually being a robot, at least in my opinion, except for these gaps here. And you can see him in the back as well. Other than that, you can see this little post, I guess you could say, where the head goes. But really, there's nothing to take away from his overall aesthetic, in my opinion. It's just a really cool, condensed little mold. Now, as far as the feel of this guy, he's very durable, holds together pretty well. As you probably seen earlier in the review, I was having some problems with this speaker coming out of place. And once that happens, it can be a little bit hard to push it back into place because you got to make sure it's aligned. But that it really has to do with, or at least a lot to do with, how you situate these legs during the transformation into Boombox mode. So you just want to be careful about that. I think I have them pretty good right now. So he's pretty durable, but especially considering this guy is a leader class figure. I can't describe how light this guy feels. I mean, man, I was like just prepping Cybertron Megatron for a figure review, who was also a leader class figure, but from 10 years ago, and I guess it has to do with the plastic used in the figures has dramatically changed over the years. With saying that, he still has a durable feel. Now, as far as any additional features and accessories, we do have the cartridge deck, which can open by just pressing this little button here, and then we can take this little cartridge, which I'll give you guys a quick look at it. Nothing too spectacular here. It does have some other functions, as we'll see in the other modes, but I think it's really a filler for some of those other guys, such as Rewind and Stripes. But what we can do is take it, and I believe it goes this way, push it in there, close it up, and it fits quite nicely, and gives him a little bit more of a full look in the chest. So here we have Titan's Return Leader Class Blaster with one of his earlier classics renditions from the Universe 2.0 line. As you can see, quite a dramatic difference between these two figures. Here he is with the other Leader Class Wave 1 figure, Power Master Optimus Prime. And here's one last comparison showing him with the commemorative series version of Soundwave, and bring these guys in both from the front. So now let's get Blaster into his base mode, and the first thing we're going to want to do, press the button, eject the cartridge, pull that to the side for right now, and bring him in closer so you can see we got to adjust all of these little bits, these translucent bits. Flip this one up, and take this one and push against it so it comes forward just like that. Next thing you want to do is take the speakers, unpeg them, and flip them forward, like so. Now you got these little ramps. It's a little bit hard to pull these out as that black peg kind of gets in the way, so you got to kind of, I'll show here, like pull forward on it and outwards at the same time, and you want to make sure you bring down the hinge like that. Don't just leave it up like this, bring it all of the way down. So next we want to unpeg these arms, just like that. Rotate them so this yellow stripe is facing the front of the base. Next we want to bring them up at these elbows here. Then you want to tilt the elbows back, I'd say about 4 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Seems to work best. And now you want to get these little black pieces and just get them flipped out. There we go. Okay, with the blasters flipped out, just gotta take these little pieces, the would-be heels on the feet, get them out like so, and you want to take these feet, flip them backwards just like that. Now we want to set the base down and get these ramps situated, and we want to take this cartridge piece and see these little pegs here. We want to plug them into those openings. It can be a little bit tricky. There we go. We have the cartridge placed up there. Now you want to take his blaster, and I don't know if I've done so, so I'll give you guys a close-up look at it. Sort of a rifle-looking weapon. Guess considering his size, it's a little bit more like a pistol, but what you want to do is take this really long handle and push it into that hole right down there. Might want to hold the bottom, and I believe we do have Blaster in his base mode. So there he is from the front. There's the side of the base, the back, the other side, the bottom, and there's the top. As far as details in this mode, one of the things that stands out most is this little danger logo, but that's really just a small part of it. There's a ton of things on this guy. I mean, obviously he has this weapon here, all these blasters up here. Give you guys a closer look at the panels down here. It's got these little ramps too. The inside of the cartridge deck transformed into a little control station, I guess. Yeah, I guess you can flip this thing down too. Now, as far as kibble and or bad bits, I feel like you're gonna have anything with a base mode in regards to kibble and stuff people generally aren't going to like, just because it's not a closed and condensed alternate mode. I mean, you can kind of see the robot legs, the arms, all this kind of stuff. A lot of times the base modes do just kind of look like the robot spread out and splayed in some weird way. As far as some other things that can be a bit of a nuisance, for one, we have the arms here which don't lock into place in any way, so while it is pretty stable here on a click joint, it can still be kind of annoying. If you grip him in these lower sections, you can have it just start bending there, so you got to be careful with just how you handle this thing, because a lot of stuff isn't locked into place, and if you grip it, let's say just like that, the whole thing just kind of comes tumbling down. Or now let's get to looking at some of the additional features that come along with Twincast. So let's first get this little dude transformed, and he has a few different functions in this mode. One thing you can do is take these little holes at the bottom of his feet. If you just peg them in there, you can comfortably station Twincast on Blaster. You can also peg him in here. You might have a few other ports, but as far as him interacting with the weapons, get him into a kind of a sitting position, bring his arms forward, and you can push him in there, and now he can kind of manage that turret up there, and he will stick in there pretty nicely if you push him down hard enough. That's all I'm going to go over for Twincast functions in this mode. I'm sure he does have a few more, but I think that can give you an idea of the playability with this base mode in Twincast. And here's a comparison showing Blaster's base mode compared to that of Power Master Optimus Prime's. So for the robot mode transformation, I've put him back into Boombox mode to show the transformation from Boombox to robot, as the Boombox is a little bit more of his main alternate mode. So first thing we want to do is pop open the cartridge deck and pull the cartridge out. Close that up and flip open the speakers. Now what we want to do is grip the gray part of the leg, and as you can see, it's locked in with the black part of the leg. Just want to pull those away from each other, and you'll see on that double hinge there. And we want to get it locked back into place up on that gray slit. And of course, it's the same thing on the other side. Bring the legs down. Now we want to take these feet and flip these out temporarily to get the toe out, and then flip them back in. Rotate the leg there. And when you're closing these parts of the leg up, you want to make sure you get that black peg here into that little square hole. So now that that's done, well, make sure we get the foot out all of the way. Yep, done on both sides this time. Get that into place. Once you make sure that's done, you want to just close it up like so, and do the same on the other side. So that's it for the legs, and that is really the bulk of his transformation. As far as the arms, just bring them down, flip the hands out, rotate them. Really simple. And then for the head, first want to take the handle here, bring it downwards. Then you want to pop this section open and pull out the helmet. Just leave it up like that for right now. And now we want to take this little dude and get him into head mode. So push the arms back and bring the legs upward. And the way you connect the head is just you have the tiny head straight like that, and you push it into place. Now I'll give you a look at it without the helmet down. But so he doesn't have the proportions of Cybertron Armorhide, let's bring the helmet down, and there we have Blaster in his robot mode. Very simple and very blocky looking, but let's bring him in for a closer look. Give you guys a quick body scroll so you can look at all of the details. And give you a close-up look at his face. Here we have a look at him from the front, the side, the back, the other side, the bottom, and there's the top. As far as any significant details go, I don't think there's too many on this guy. I mean, you can see those cool shoulder details there. Also on the legs, we have a little bit more blue, and we have these kind of speaker looking things. These details here, rigid lines on the arms here. As far as colors go, almost the same as in his other two modes. We have red, black, the sparkly gray color, but we do have a little bit more blue now up here, a little bit more silver on the head and the face, and then we have the yellow. So that's about it for colors. As far as articulation goes, move the arm out of the way. You can bring the leg forward and backwards just about that much. You can go outward like that. Can rotate on this swivel, which is a click joint there, so At the upper leg, he can also rotate here all of the way around. And then at the knee, you can bring it a little bit forward, and then at about a 90-degree angle backwards. He does actually have some feet articulation. You can bend them like that, or outward just a little bit far like that, which seems like a little bit, but can actually go for some cooler posing. But anyways, no articulation in the waist. And as far as the arms go, they can go all the way around up here. At the shoulders, they can go outward, just about a 90-degree angle. At the elbow, full rotation there. Then it can bend forward, like so, and not backward at all, and no wrist swivel. And as far as the head goes, we don't have much up and down motion with the helmet on, but the head can do a full 360. Now if you pull the helmet off, you do have a little bit more motion in that regard, but to turn the head around, you're going to have to turn this entire piece, which is a little bit of a downside. Not too much considering the helmet is, of course, supposed to be left on. As far as additional features and accessories, we already went over the whole head thing, so next we'll take a look at the blaster. And what you do here, of course, is just peg it into his hand and give you guys a look at how it looks in his hand. Pretty basic, but that isn't a bad thing. It still looks pretty cool. And what you can also do is use it in storage. He has this little hole back here. Just take the handle of the blaster and peg it into place. And in my opinion, this isn't the best looking storage. It does look a little bit contrived. Just kind of sticks out a little bit too far for my liking, and the horizontal look is just a bit weird. That sums it up for accessories and stuff. Now as far as any kibble and or bad bits, I mean as far as kibble goes, I don't really see how he has anything in this mode except maybe the handle here, but he's pretty clean in that regard. Now as far as some of my personal complaints, I don't like when you bring the arm up like this, and that whole black part of the elbow is like totally invisible now. And obviously it works out well for the transformation, but I kind of wish they would have added another step there to maybe so this piece could just kind of extend, because even here it looks a little bit short to me, and it doesn't help with the overall blocky look of the figure. I think especially in the arms, this guy goes a little bit overboard, but even with the legs, a big extension back here, so if you're bending his knee backwards, he really can't do basic things such as sitting. And altogether, this piece here is just massive looking. Some people may not mind that. I actually think most people aren't bothered by those things in the arms and legs. More or less personal complaints. Here's Blaster compared with Titan's Return Leader Class Power Master Optimus Prime. Here he is with the Commemorative Series Soundwave and Universe 2.0 Voyager Class Blaster. Here he is with sort of a random assortment from left to right. We have Cybertron Leader Class Megatron, Classics Voyager Class Optimus, and Combiner Wars Deluxe Class Groove. So final thoughts, as for my personal opinions, this guy's a cool figure. He doesn't have too many negative qualities other than the blockiness, but for me he doesn't really go beyond it or become an incredible figure or anything. I would say due to the third mode and some of the cool craft we have going on with the head sculpt and the whole helmet thing, along with the cartridge deck, he does have traits that definitely put him above average. But as far as say the robot mode itself, it's not really anything incredible. Now he does have a very simple look to him. That isn't necessarily a negative for me, as some of my favorite Transformer figures are very simplistic ones, such as, I think Classics Optimus Prime's robot mode is pretty standard looking, though he does have a little bit more of a unique silhouette than this guy. Where I think a figure such as Classics Optimus excels is that his design is simple, but he still has like really good articulation. You know, in the head he has, of course, the full 360, but he also has some additional motion there. The leg articulation on that figure, Classics Optimus, are like perfect because the lower legs don't have too much back kibble. The upper legs are just the right length that he can do things such as sitting and get some really cool poses. I kind of expect some additional things in the aesthetic and posability of the robot mode if it's going to be simple, whereas this guy doesn't have a ton of kibble that gets in the way, but he's really the bare minimum in regards to the robot mode and like the fun you can have with posing and what poses you can get out of the figure and just the overall look. Once again though, I do appreciate the third mode. He has a pretty fun transformation. I do think some of the details turned out really nice on this guy, especially the head is really cool looking. But for me personally, that's about all he is. He's a cool figure, which isn't necessarily bad. Now, as far as personal recommendations, if you're looking for an updated version of Blaster, unless there's some masterpiece or third-party thing out there that you're going to get, I don't think you could do better than this figure. He looks pretty close to the Generation 1 counterpart to my knowledge. He has all of the necessary features you would want in Blaster, and turning into the Boombox, the cartridge deck. Now, some people may be bothered by the fact that he's a headmaster, but even if you are kind of bothered by that, this is probably going to be the only Generation 1-ish looking Blaster that we get in a while, so this is probably still going to be your best option. Now, if you just want to get some figures from the new Titans Return line, I would personally recommend this guy over Power Master Optimus Prime. Has a little bit less kibble and junk, has an overall better feel, a little bit less hollow. I think the details are done nicer, the paint applications, all of that. Make your opinion. If you just want one of these two guys, I would recommend this figure, as I think he's better in almost every mode. Ultimately though, those are just my recommendations, my personal thoughts on the figure. I hope in any case this review helped showcase the figure well enough so you could make up your own thoughts, and maybe you think this guy looks like perfect. In any case, hopefully this review was helpful, and that's all I have to say for this review. If you want to see more reviews of the Titans Return figures, you can keep up with the channel, as I'll be trying to upload them regularly, with the addition of some throwback reviews for figures from the older lines. And if you want to see more reviews right now, you can go to my channel and check them out. I also have a whole bunch of other Transformers content, such as videos discussing the cartoons, the movies, all sorts of cool stuff. You can also follow me on Twitter for more regular updates. And that's all I have to say for now. Thanks for watching, stay tuned, and have a good one, guys. I'll see you soon.